Good morning, everyone. My name is Toyin Umesiri, and I am the host for the Day 2 Nigeria Investment Conference. I want to welcome everyone from around the world, most especially our honorable speakers. Thank you so much for joining us, for your time. I also want to say a big thank you again to the Nigerian House, the Nigerian Consulate General out of New York, represented by Honorable Nicholas Ella. I want to thank the Nigerian government. Yes, please. Okay, let's do that again. Please, Honorable Ella, New York, wave.
Thank you.
Thank you
welcome,
so much.
everyone.
Thank you for Day 2. Thank you for being such a great part of this engagement and, helping us with facilitating engagement also from the other agencies back home in Nigeria. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
Also,
you.
I'm seeing here Sir Jackson. Oh, yes. Please say hello. Thank you. Good morning from Nigeria. Representing the Nigeria. Yes, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. I look forward to hearing you speak today, sir. Thank you so much. Barrister Kola, thank you so much for yesterday, your presentation yesterday. We got so much rave reviews. So much rave reviews from yesterday. I
Thank you so
see
much.
also, yes, I also see Honorable Chief Anthony. Good morning. I'm going to officially introduce you because you're our first speaker, but I just wanted you to also wave. Thank you so much for joining us today from the Kano State government. I see our speaker, Awa Mustafa, joining us today. Please wave. She's here in the US, but her husband is stationed in Nigeria working for the Kano State government, and she's going to share a lot with us about the northern Nigeria, the empowering women, youth, and education in the northern side of Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us today as well. I see Francis and Tony. Please, thank you so much for joining us. Yes. Can you see us? Thank you so much.
Yes, I can see you. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to representative of the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission. I'm not going to mix that up again. Yesterday they were able to correct it. So yes, we're going to go ahead and get started. We know there are different ways for people to be a part of today's event. We're also live streaming this morning's session, courtesy of Nazaru. And we know in the trade platform, people are watching, they're commenting. We want to hear your question, your comments. And if you have questions, just like yesterday, drop it in the comment box or the Q&A box, and we'll be able to get right to it. So this morning, I'm going straight to our first honorable speaker. Yesterday, sir, Honorable Chief Anthony, you started speaking, and one of the feedback I got, one of the journalists was like, Toyin, we want to hear more from him. And I said, yes, tomorrow morning is going to be our first speaker. So don't worry, come prepared. So I also say good morning to, our ladies and gentlemen of the press that are joining us as well. The Nigerian News Agency is also represented. Thank you so much. So all protocols duly observed. I know I cannot name everybody, but thank you to all the government officials. Thank you for the private sector engagement. This engagement is about how. It's not just about what the opportunities are, but it's about how. So our speakers are hand-selected to show us how to trade and invest in Nigeria. So my first speaker today is Honorable Chief Anthony Enera. He's the Senior Special Assistant. So let me bring him spotlight as I read his bio. His full bio is on the platform, but I just want to spotlight a few things. So Honorable Chief Anthony Enera is the Senior Special Assistant to the Kano State Governor on Lagos Affairs. He has served in the private sector, working for companies such as Standard Alliance Insurance, EcoBank, Paxson American Nigeria Limited, Oceanic Bank. He has also served in Geneva, Switzerland at the International Trade Center, World Trade Organization. He holds a master's in international trade from Aberdeen Business School, Robert Gordon University in Aberdeen, Scotland. And he holds a bachelor's of economics from the University of Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria. Sir, It's such an honor. I think you're the man of the moment. So many people reach out to me and said, Toyin, why did you stop him yesterday towards the head? I was like, I'm sorry. He's going to be our first speaker today. I wanted him to save the best for this morning. So you have the floor. Please go on, sir.
Thank you, Toyin. I'm honored to be here, and it's good to see Mr. Arnold again. I haven't met him in person, but he was instrumental to one of the projects I just finished on the leather industry, powerhouse in Kano. And Mr. Aware, good to meet you again today. I'm honored. What is my office about? I'm very sure Hajiatu would be interested to know what I do. Can you guys hear me? Yes. Okay, so in 2018, the governors of Lagos and Kano states came together after His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari put together the PEBEC. I'm very sure we are familiar with PEBEC. That's the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council under the chairmanship of the Vice President. Please, anytime you lose me, let me know. Hello?
Okay. You said anytime we lose you, we should let you know.
Yes, please.
Okay.
So, after PEBEC was formed, the two governors of Lagos and Kano states thought it fit that, okay, we should come together, sign a partnership, and promote trade and services of both states. Now, Lagos is one of the, it's the next center. It's a commercial center for businesses in Nigeria. Kano, the same thing, and they have similar population size, So the partnership is to promote investment, is to promote public-private partners, it's to drive investments into both states. Now, my office, the office of the on Lagos affairs, is somewhat like an ambassador. Like you have, every state has a licensing office. The licensing officers are administrators of the licensing office. My office is more of, I report directly to the state government, and I seek partners. I go to people and I say, okay, Kano has this, come to Kano and invest. Lagos has this, from Kano come to Lagos and invest. So basically, there are times that I've been called an ambassador for both states, so to say. That said, why did we do this? Kano knew what had happened in the past in 2003, in 2013 with the crisis, and they had lost so much. People were afraid to come into Kano, unsafe environment and all of that. So the governor of Kano said, with so much investment in infrastructure, education, healthcare, needed people to come back Kano to invest, because already we were beginning to lose investments in Kano State, So we had to come to Lagos, because Lagos is always the first stop for investors in Nigeria. So when you come to Lagos, you go to Lagos Global, you talk to the Lagos state government, you say, see, I'm a businessman, I want to invest in Nigeria. And they say, oh, Lagos, you can invest in Lagos. But the truth is, Lagos is overpopulated. Everyone has run out of Kano. We need people to come back to Kano and invest. So I sit here in Lagos, I work with the Lagos state government, I relate with the different Now, I was speaking about the doing business in Nigeria 46 last year. Now, I want to read out how this report is scored, how you rank. Now, one of the criteria is for starting a business. Lagos and Kano State has ensured that they work closely with the CAC to ensure registration is seamless. People understand how to start small businesses. You heard Mr. Kola where speaking yesterday about MSMEs and all of that. The government, the state government, the federal government, the state governments have ensured that small business registration is seamless. So that is one score that scores doing business in Nigerian report. The next one is construction permits. You want to construct. How quick are the permits? You come in as an investor into the country. How quick are those permits? How do you get them? You know, the bottlenecks and everything. One thing Kano State did was to come to Lagos and say, Lagos, how do you guys do your things? You know, how is it done? We want to learn. We want to know. You know, that was one essence of the partnership that we signed with Lagos State. So Lagos has said to us, see, we have public-private partners. We do not depend on the federal government solely. You know, taxes, public-private partnerships, and all of that. You know, so one of the things, construction permit for infrastructure. The next thing is electricity, access to electricity for small businesses. We know that the federal government has pushed out the metering system. One thing Kano State did was to ensure that smaller communities had access to those meters. Smaller businesses have access to those meters. We see the same thing in Lagos too. You know, yes, it takes a lot of time, but you have access. So that is one thing that has caught us. Now, another thing is registering properties. Registration of properties. As an investor, you come in the registration of properties. Then the one that we did not get a score for is getting credit, access to credit. You know, that's one thing that disrupts businesses in Nigeria. Now, another thing we didn't get a score for was protecting minority investors. Protecting minority investors. We didn't get a score for that one. Then paying taxes. Paying taxes. I remember when His Excellency Governor Abdullahi Ganduje came to Lagos after that partnership, we were asking questions. What's happening? How are your roads being fixed? Lagos State has that nature for taxes. Pay your tax, your roads are fixed. Pay your tax, you get basic amenities, you know, access to basic amenities. So Kano State, the Kano State governor went back and he started the same approach in Kano, you know. So another thing that's called now, paying taxes, this was high though. Cross-border trading was one thing that scored us. Unfortunately, we are seeing the conversation around the closure of borders and all that, but we also see the conversation around how goods and services are moved from the north, Kano specifically, into Lagos, Mile 12 market. You see it, tomatoes, farm produce, it's coming, it's seamless. The abattoir in Lagos is huge. Most of the animals are coming from the north, they're coming from Kano. So it's huge. So cross-border relations is one thing that's caught us high. Now, enforcing contracts is another side. Now, why have I listed all of this? Is that the World Bank report is based on two states, Lagos and Kano. Two major states, Lagos and Kano, are the reason why we've been scored up. So this partnership of Lagos and Kano has helped the economy, so to say, you know, over time. And if you go back to history, you see how transatlantic trade, the Saharan trade, how it kept up those days in Kano. You know, I grew up in Kano. I remember going to a market, and it's called, is it Singer Market? You know, and You see people still pushing cash, bags of cash in wheelbarrows, because trade is going on trade is going on, daily trade is going on in Kano. You go to Kano, you see trade. Recently, Toyin was one of my attendees at my summit. She spoke at the summit on the leather industry. We had a designer, his name is Adebakare. We went to see him to speak to him about investing, because he's a designer for bags and all of that. So we said, see, Adebakare, where do you get your leather? He said, Moroccan leather, get some from the UK. So a few days later, he calls me up and said, see, I called my customer and he told me that the Moroccan leather I buy from him is actually gotten from Kano State. The Moroccan leather is gotten from Kano. That you see Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and all of those designers use, they come to Kano and they get that leather. So I had to put together players in the industry, direct players in the industry. And I said, see, what is the problem? Why are we exporting leather, and yet Nigerians that are making bags, shoes, wallets, belts, they still find it hard to find good leather, And one thing we found out was people are not aware. Now, it's my responsibility as SSA to the governor on Lagos affairs to make people aware, to tell them about the leather. Now, Nigeria has over 32 tanneries. 26 of them are based in Kano. 26 of those tanneries are in Kano State. I know for sure that Lagos State right now is trying to come up with its own leather processing plant somewhere at Agbara, Badagry area. Because if the industries in Kano are failing, the next point of investment for investors to come in is Lagos. So one thing the summit did for us was to find industries that have been there for 3 decades. Say, okay, get us the land in Lagos and we would come. We would have a subsidiary, so to say, subsidiary of our industry in Kano here in Lagos. Like I said yesterday, one of the issues we face in Kano for the factories is power. The gas pipeline passes through Lagos, so you find those industries working because gas is cheap, so they have access to power, As for Kano, with the AKK project that has been signed by the federal government and the Kano state government and Kaduna state government, we're hoping that in future, the industries will pick up, because industries in Kano spend so much. That is why you find Kano indigenes, private sector indigenes, players like Bua, their concentration is here. Like Dangote, their concentration is here, because where they started in Kano is failing in their businesses, and we are saying to them, okay, can we find alternative sources to allow those industries work? You were speaking of fabric. Is it fabric? So you were speaking about was it Ankara? Was it Ankara?
Yes,
or,
apparels. Yes.
Yes, in Kano. Okay, let me say here, I grew up in Kano. And as a young man in Kano, my dad was the military governor of Kano State at one time, and I would go on tours with him in Kano. And I went to this factory. They were making white cotton fabrics. And I asked my dad, wow, so much fabrics. What are they using it for? Is it for bedsheet? And the guy in the factory, I think at that time was Gestia Textiles. He said that they export these fabrics to Saudi Arabia to Mecca for the Hajj. You know, at that time, that was way back in 2006. You know, they were exporting those fabrics to Saudi Arabia, to Mecca from Kano. You know, till this day, fabrics is so cheap in Kano that I have found trade partners, some women here in Lagos at the Balogun market. They came to me and they said, Oga, we hear you are from Kano, sir. How can we get businesses in Kano? And I said, what do you do? And they said, they buy Ankara. So I got them connected to some traders in Kano and direct purchase. They don't have to travel from Lagos. They stay in Lagos and their orders are made and brought in for them. Fabrics, huge loads of fabrics, you know. So you cut out that middleman for them. You know, so basically, my office bridges that gap for trade, investment possibilities, and for new ideas for state partnerships. We've seen the state partnership work with Lagos and Kebbi on the lake rice. We've seen it, agricultural partnership. We've seen it work on the lake rice, you know. The Lagos state government provided the land, the farmers from Kebbi State farm, the rice is produced and is made cheap, accessible to people that want to buy it. I don't know how that partnership is working now, but the Kano state government decided to do more, not just agriculture, but infrastructure, technology. Now, Kano state has its own LASMA. It's called Karauta. We have our own neighborhood watch. You know, we've come to Lagos to adopt. In the nearest future, you will be seeing Kano State run its own BRT service. Because what we've done is we have built connecting infrastructures, road network in Kano, broad road network in Kano. You know, Lagos, right now we boast in Kano that Lagos has one underpass in Maryland. Kano has over 15 underpasses for accessibility, road networks in Kano State. So if you have questions, I'll just stop here right now. If you have questions for me, then I
mean, this is, okay. For me, this is wonderful because what I try to say is that economic development happens at a local level. A lot of times, you know, people outside of Nigeria, so foreign investors and regional trade partnerships, they look at Nigeria through the lens of federal government, right? Ministers and all of that. But for me, one of the important things we try to do is to highlight the state's local, you know, stakeholders like yourself that can actually move the engine and move the conversation forward faster. That's what I see, because here in the US as well, economic development actually is city by city, county. It grows that way out to the federal level, not the other way around. Yeah. So what you've just shared with us is incredible. If anybody has questions, we're going to introduce, you know, bring them on. But for me, my mind is just saying, okay, within Nigeria, you've just enlightened us in terms of the size. You said something around Kano and Lagos being the two contributors towards the World Bank doing index for Nigeria. So these two states are important. You also told us how, yes, sir.
Yeah, it might also interest you to know that there's a settlement, there's a local government in Lagos called Agege. If you are familiar with Agege, when I took up this appointment, I needed to identify with the Kano State indigents in Lagos because it's also part of my responsibility. And I went to Agege, and the head of the how would I call it, Hausa community in Agege is referred to as the Serkin Hausawa Agege. And I went to his palace to pay him homage. He's from Kano State. And he told me that since 1932, 1932, the northerners, the first settlers in Lagos were from Kano. When they used to trade through the rail lines, they bring in kola nuts and everything from Kano. And they settled in Agege. They actually named the place Agege. And from there, they began to move. So they moved from Agege to Idiaraba, Idiaraba to Apapa, Apapa to Obalende, and the spread of the Arewa people began in Lagos, starting from trade from Kano into Lagos, as at that time, way back in 1932, If you go to Agege, they are intermarried. I mean, you see the Kano man has married the Lagos woman, or the Hausa man has married the Yoruba woman. So they become part and parcel of the community. It's huge. One thing that interests me is during the Salah festival, they hold a Durbar in Agege. Huge, huge Durbar. What am I trying to say? In Lagos alone, because of the business environment that they've played in their contribution to the economy of Lagos State, and I bet you they contribute immensely to the economy of Lagos State. It has made Lagos work. It has made the economy of Lagos work. Now, that is for the settlers. Now, these settlers also have families back in Kano that are taking trade and investment back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, So it's not just business, it's creating a family to allow for investment to happen. The chairman of the Mile 12 market in Lagos is from Kano State. The chairman of the BDC in Lagos is from Kano State. So the community is growing, the business community is growing, and it has grown over time. So it's not just coming into a place and say, I want to do business. It's coming into a place and contributing to the development of that place where you stay. And it's the same thing you see in Kano, where the governor of Kano State has allowed non-indigens to prosper, to thrive, to contribute to it. My office is the first of its kind. And I believe if other state governors can adopt such strategies, you don't have to worry about, no, Nigeria, let me make we divide. No. You see, that's cross-border trade, that relationship will help the economy grow. I just wanted to add that.
Yes, so a couple of questions from my side. How do we gain visibility to Kano's exports and Kano's imports? And maybe this is something we can explore, because that's one. And then the other thing is, within the context of AfCFTA, right? Within the regional framework of beyond just Nigeria, how do we increase the visibility of Africa into Kano and then even beyond? Because honestly, with the global and regional standpoint, all people see is Lagos or Abuja because of the political epicenter. But with what you've just highlighted, in my mind, it's like, wow. Because interestingly, I was born in the north. I was born in Kaduna, Tundunwada. So I understand the intermarrying and the, even though my parents are Yoruba, I completely appreciate it. My birth certificate says I'm Kaduna. So, Sono Yayaiki. So I only know how to say hello. But so I have an appreciation, a great appreciation, unique appreciation for everything you just shared. So wonderful to help us understand the current state, but could you also share with us the vision that you have and that your governor has for the future, and how those in the diaspora, those in Nigeria, those watching, those that would even access this content later, how can they plug in specifics to what sector, and how can they work with your office? Or even for those that reach out to us, how can we accelerate trade and investment with your office?
Oh, okay. Thank you, Toyin. I'm from Delta State. Like I said, I grew up in Kano, and no sentiments, because one of the biggest issue we face in Nigeria is sentiment. I remember when the reports came that there is going to be a rail line running from Jigawa, Kano into Niger. So many people became sentimental. But they left out the fact that could it be because of the AfCFTA agreement? Could it ensure that trade is seamless between these borders? Niger is close to these states. So Kano State is taking the opportunity of that rail line, because already Kano does not have a seaport. But over time, history has shown that Kano still trades with other African countries. So through the borders, and all of that. Now, if this rail line will help the trade, then it's a welcome development to His Excellency, Governor Abdullahi Ganduje, if it will help the trade. Because it is so expensive now, because one of the ways that trade happens in Kano is through the airports. Goods are flown in from Dubai, from Jeddah, and most of the Arab countries and the neighboring African countries, around Nigeria, Egypt, Niger, and all of that, Morocco and all of that. Like I said earlier, we heard that the Moroccan leather, that everyone shouts Moroccan leather, is actually from Kano. So trade has been happening over time. Now, if this agreement would help improve that trade, Kano is going to take that opportunity. Kano would take the opportunity, So I would say if state governments, not the federal government in this case, if state governments have that access to border trade with other African countries, then they should tap into the agreement, not waiting for the federal government, because it will work for them, So that is why I first told you I'm from Delta. I'm not, so no sentiments to it, because I tried to explain to so many people that kept asking me, that rail line, when I said, no, have you thought about trade, movement of goods and service being easy? So when the rail comes into Jigawa, then you can now connect to Kaduna, Abuja, from Abuja to Edo Delta, the rail line, Lagos, it's connecting. So at that point, there's a connection to trade for everyone in the different states. I believe that the state governors themselves, not the federal government, the state governors themselves should come up with a platform, a strategy to tap into this AfCFTA agreement that is already on ground, because it would help for those. So the Kano state government already is taking that opportunity. And that's why it's building processes to ensure its industries are up, the infrastructural network is up, the road network is up, and all of that.
Wow, this is great, because one of the things that I'm hearing from you is a recommendation to use the Kano-Lagos partnership as a solid template to fast track trade in Nigeria. And you also talked about not just waiting for the federal, but for the states to actually embrace AfCFTA. And tap into the rewards for their state. This is the first time I'm hearing this.
Yeah.
I think this is like headline news. That at the state level, each state in Nigeria must build their own which is what you're saying, build a strategy to benefit from AfCFTA.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
Yes. Lagos already has the borders to do that with Seme, Benin, Ghana. Kano has the borders with Niger, Jigawa, and all of that. These are access routes for the trade to happen. So if this partnership is working, then investors, both inside the country and outside the country, can tap into it, because already these are the two biggest. Now, I'll tell you something. In Lagos, everyone is consuming. Everyone consumes. In Kano, there's production. So Kano has found a place to push its goods. They found that place. They found a place to bring Ankara, textile, finished products, and everything. Like we said, now it might interest you, Toyin. After that summit on the leather thing, we started looking for barter, contacts to barter, because we want to say to them that Kano has leather. You heard what the stakeholders said. We have it. Come to us. We'll give you.
Yes,
but
yes.
You cannot blame us if you have Italian companies wanting more.
Italian
companies wanting more. And you guys want 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes, and we're just talking. Yes. Oh my God, we are just referencing a stakeholder engagement that we held several weeks ago, where we brought all stakeholders in the country around leather between Lagos and Kano. And one of the things, I don't know if people, if you remember, you talked about Kano already selling to the rest of Africa. I can actually attest to that, because
yes.
the tannery chief, I don't know if you remember him saying, Nazaru, we met them in Egypt.
Yes,
he said that because
at the seminar.
Yes,
Egypt.
Yes, because what happened was, so I work with Afro-Exim Bank, and they hosted the Intra-African Trade Fair, which I'll share more at the end. And I was represented as an ambassador for IATF, and I was in Egypt. So I was walking the exhibition stands, and I went to the exhibition of Nexim Bank, so Nigerian Export-Import Bank and Bank of Industry. And right there was Tannery, Kano Tannery chief.
Yes.
And I did an interview with him. I did a picture of his leather, high quality leather, and he was exhibiting in Egypt. I was like, wow. So you're right. Kano, when it comes to leather, they're not waiting. They are playing
already,
internationally.
Already.
And he also shared with us, and I want people to know that he said leather coming out of Kano globally is actually one of the top 10 highest quality leather in the world. I was like, wow, news to me. So this is so important. And I know this is not the end of our engagement. This is not the end of this conversation. So I want to also ask, and I want to welcome our speakers. I'm doing this because on my screen, our speakers are right here. Is what do you need? How can we help? For us, market access. There's also investment promotion. There's also export promotion. So I know where you and I will carry this conversation forward, but what do you also need from the other agencies here? They are here. Please.
Like I said, I've had the opportunity the honor to meet. I started planning this thing, and he told me the same thing we already know in Nigeria. You go to Aba, they are producing shoes, as in huge finished goods from leather. You come to Mushin in Lagos, the same thing is happening. One thing we discussed was we're exporting leather, great. Nexim Bank, the export promotions, promoting the export of non-oil items or goods. but we have finished goods, beautiful goods. What is that country? I saw on CNN that has a high, they export cocoa and they buy chocolate so expensive, you know. It's the same thing we do for the leather, you know. So it is high time we take our brand, the Nigerian brand, the finished goods out there. Now, the question is, why are these agencies more in concentration to exporting the raw materials when already we have a huge market? My shoes, my belt, my wallet is all made there in Mushin. And there's a saying I somewhere that you know a man's worth from the shoes he wears. You know, you just look at this, you're like, this guy, a person for society, you know. I think it's high time these agencies help push those brands, that made in Nigerian brand, out, you know. What I see happening is, yes, they give money, SMEs and everything, but it's high time we begin to push the made in Nigerian brand, made from the Nigerian leather. So there'll be more. So you're not just getting money from the exports, you are gaining money from the finished goods also. You gain money. So it's like the country that exports cocoa and buys chocolates. So if they had the process now, Rwanda, oh my gosh. When I was doing my research on the leather thing, Rwanda is not just exporting leather, exporting to other African countries the finished products. And they are gaining more. You gain more. So I would hope that we can find major players in the government agencies, in the private sector, say to us, let us find finished goods. Let us encourage this. You know, funny enough, when you go to Mushin, they are branding the belts with a foreign name.
Wow.
Not even made in Nigeria. I will buy it.
Yes.
You can't tell. They are branding with a foreign name. And we are buying it, you know. So I believe that there should be more concentration on ensuring that you get more investments from not just the raw materials, but from the finished goods.
Wow, that is fantastic, and actually leads us to the next speaker. But before I introduce the next speaker, I also want to ask, anybody wants to join Honorable Ella? Sir Arnold Jackson will be joining us soon, because he's going to pick up where you are living and take it in, because you talked about Abba. Abba sits on his portfolio as well. So I'm sure he's going to be able to directly address the questions you
guy
raised.
has more shoes than I can imagine, I'm very sure.
I know he's itching. He's itching. I can see his face. He's itching to respond. But maybe I should bring him on now. Let me introduce our next speaker, because this ties in perfectly. And you know, Honorable Anthony, this is fantastic. Thank you so much. But stay tuned, because I know this is going to generate some very interesting engagement, because you know, interaction, because what you said is going to, I believe is going to pick up from that, because you know, Sir Jackson is with the Nigerian Exports Promotion Agency. So let me officially introduce him. So I'm going to bring him on now to the screen, but Honorable Chief Anthony, please stay on standby, because you know, I'm sure you'll be able to interact with him as well. Thank you so much. So our next speaker, let me bring him on. Yes, the man of the moment. Oh, Sir Arnold Jackson is the Deputy Director and Regional Coordinator for Enugu Regional Office at the Nigerian Export Promotion Agency. He has responsibility for Anambra, Abakaliki, Abia, Enugu, and Imo, all the states of the southeast of Nigeria. Aba, like people who know Aba, is an epicenter for productive manufacturing, and you know, it's a productive force in Nigeria. And it also ties to what Honorable Anthony just talked about in terms of leather, shoes, and everything being branded. So for us to win on the Made in Nigeria concept, Sir Jackson's region has to, take us there. So, sir, you have the floor. You are the man of the moment. I'm going to get out of the spotlight. Please, we welcome you. Thank you so much for being such a great supporter of this platform. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Toyin. You know, I don't like spotlight. Honorable Enera, I just want to thank you. I listened to you partly yesterday, though we spoke on this same letter some few weeks back, and on the platform you had, and I threw in some light into what we are also doing. You see, when we're talking about diversification of export or economy, for us, if we add value, that is exactly what it is, because when you add value, you will have a premium of any product. The emphasis of the council, which I represent, is on the value addition for the product we export. You were talking about listen, that's apparently, I think, Cote d'Ivoire. I think I also listened to that what do you call it, that documentary on the CNN when they talk about Cote d'Ivoire is the highest producer of cocoa. But when, I think it was Richard Quest that did that documentary, when they send the cocoa, the raw cocoa to Netherlands and all other part of the country, now they send it back in, even in Nigeria, the same thing happens here. A bar of Mars chocolate, you might need maybe 2 or 3 seeds of cocoa with sugar. And when they bring it back, you buy for as much as almost 400, 300 and something, almost 400 naira for one chocolate bar, small one. So for us, it is a minus. The same thing, Barrister Kola spoke on cashew. It's the same thing that is happening today. When we send raw cashew to Vietnam and the rest of those things, they process that and maybe they send it back to us, and it becomes a challenge because you have to pay. And it is what we talk about. In fact, to even buttress the aspect of this, what I'm saying now, there's a list of prohibited items. The leather we're talking about, we can't export wet blue. It is under export prohibition list. You cannot export, you must add value. Why are you sending these things to people? The so-called Made in Nigeria, we have championed, we have promoted this. And I remember in our former Minister of State for Commerce then, was the major. We went to Kano, we went to, on this same letter, we went to Sokoto. She apparently said that that's where she's from there originally, and this leather originated from there. So we try to do a lot of things to promote. But you see, the problem we have is that over a period of time, people have started having a quest for foreign-made good, which is what makes people. And I'm just coming back from Aba this morning. I went to Aba this morning. I just come back, and we've been trying to work on this same thing, because what we are trying to do in Aba is don't just made in there's this stigmatization, which we also try to correct. That was part of the things, like a value reorientation. Most of the shoes that is made in Aba goes to Brazil, Spain, and even Dubai. Then they now put them made in Dubai, and they bring it back to us and sell to. We've done that, and we've discovered that, and it's a very saddening thing for us. So we are also trying to tell them, listen, be bold enough to say made in Nigeria and sell it. That's why later in Aba, the NEPC, UNIDO, and the state government, we partnered with the UNIDO to open what we call the Common Facility Center. The idea was to have that place when you produce, because we found that the finishing of those leather works was very, very poor. And that was why I said, oh, Abamed, oh, Abamed. So it became like a stigma. When they want to downgrade you or maybe look at what you wear and say, Abamed. And, you know, people now tend to distance themselves from the product from Aba because they feel, oh, it's inferior. And that's what we're trying to do, to change the orientation and let the people understand that you can make, you know, wear the Aba product, both leather, anything leather product from Aba. As far as I'm concerned, I have shoes that is made in Aba. I wear them. I've gone to both apparel and leather product. That's the hub. And we need to tell people that you can always wear these things and people won't understand where these things are made. Don't belittle yourself by saying, oh, when you say I'm made in Aba, some of them in Aba will put there made in Italy. And you know this thing is not made in Italy. I've gone to some factories where they make shoes. I met a guy, he's based in Italy. He makes shoes, bags, and belt. So I asked him, he said, listen, I can get a mold from Italy, bring it to Aba and produce these things here. I have Italian guys working for me here. I am based in Italy. Sometimes I don't have enough over there, so I bring the production here and I take it back to Italy and sell. So we are doing a lot, and it is, Tony, thank God you said your shoes is made in Moshi. My shoes is made in Nigeria, it's made in Aba and Addison. We should encourage made in Aba. We should encourage made in Nigeria. The clothes we wear, I went for one made in Nigeria, that's in Aba, made in Nigerian product, sometimes in Lagos. And I was talking, and people were busy talking, you know, they say, Pomo, the shoe, you should not use it for Pomo. Somebody says, oh, I didn't answer, I just kept quiet. Then now, when I was talking, I said, okay, let's take a look at all of us here in this room. How many of us are wearing made in Nigerian products, ranging from the clothes you're wearing, the shoes, and even the cap? I look at a cross-section of the room, people wear ties, suit, and all that. You understand? I don't have a problem. I would love ties and suit. I would do that. But if you're talking about made in Nigeria and you knew you were coming from made in Nigerian product, you should offer for purpose of identification and to preach what you, to do what you preach. We should be seen in Nigerian attire or anything that is made in Nigeria. You can boldly say, this is it. And when all of us in this platform now, when we start talking about made in Nigeria, this is made in Nigerian clothes, this is made in Nigerian shoe. And they look at it, there's no difference between what they buy from China, what they buy from wherever. I rather will go, I walked at the airport from there and I saw one boutique. They say, oh, the shoes. And I looked at the shoes, so where are these shoes from? And the lady said to me, oh, I get them from China. And I said, I can't buy it. He asked me why. I said, because the shoes I see in Aba and in Nigeria, most of the shoes are better than what you're selling. Why will I buy this kind of thing that I'm not sure of the quality? I can control the quality. I am an advocate of made in Nigerian product and the shoes. I wear made in Nigerian clothes. I wear made in Nigerian shoes. And I always make bold, I brag about it. And I insist on getting the quality that when I speak about it, somebody will say, okay, let me try it. For us in Nigerian Export Promotion Council, value addition is a key and a critical, export component that we develop product for export. We help, provide technical competencies. We, like what we're doing in the leather, in Aba, Tony, we also have a common facility center that we're also promoting in Aba for leather and leather work too. We have in Aba, we partner with, sometimes we may not have as much money, but we get the technical expertise. Like the back one is with UNIDO and the state government, So we do all sort of things to make sure for us to diversify the economy, you must add value. Enough of getting our product to people to be raw material for the industrialized countries. Let us add, because when we add value, one, we attract premium at the international market. Number two, we also create jobs for the people, because in adding value, you must create jobs. People are, benefiting from whatever you're doing. And the economy is also impacted positively than just carrying in fact, for us, it was almost like not to give incentive. We also give incentive for people who are into export and maybe the repatriate their fund. We give incentive for that purpose. But we now prorate those that have added greater value, they have higher incentive in return. If you have maybe we discourage that a lot. So we give, maybe sometimes, if possible, we may not even talk much about it, because there must be some level of value addition. And for us also, quality matters. So when we have good quality products from Aba, from Leather Works, from Kanu, from Mushi, and you're bold to say this product stands the quality parameter anywhere, somebody will want to buy. Meanwhile, this one for your information, I used to make shirts, and it's made in Nigeria. I put them made in Nigeria, and I had one label, one made in Nigeria. One day I used to go all the way, sell to embassies and stuff. I targeted a lot of people that have, some peculiar shirts. For people like us, okay, I wear 17.5, so I know what the 17.5 sleeve is. But Tony looks a bit, I've not met you in person, but I think you're a bit big. You might be wearing 17.5 but taller, so you can't wear the 17.5 sleeve. So I get you a bespoke specification, which I take the measurement. Maybe your sleeve is 24 or 25, but you have a bigger neck, so that fit, And one day somebody said to me, because I deliberately did made in Nigeria, I said, because you've written made in Nigeria, there's no difference between this and what you have in Marks and Spencer. I will buy. He now was the one to introduce a lot of people, to say, go to this place, make some, I will pay, make some to this person, just the way it is. From there, that's how it is. You've sure of the quality, because that's what sells the product. Quality is very key for us in all aspects of export promotion. You must not go with anything inferior. In the international market, nobody knows you, nobody knows your company. They only know your product. When the thing passes through the quality parameter that is required, then they can talk with you. The money will be paid to you based on all the documentation, which is also another part of the problem. So in all these things, when you talk about export promotion, you need to talk about quality certification. Is it in agriculture? You have the organic certification, which sells everywhere in the world. Everywhere in the world, when you say this is organic, and it must be organic, that's the integrity. When it's organic and it goes through every parameter and is certified as organic, then you don't need much of stress. The market on its own will look for you. When you put it on your website, this is this, and that's why we tell people, please try, like in the shoe, get to the sun, the man cap or whatever, the ISO and the rest of those things. Those are the things that sells the market. In international, when you're talking about regional this thing, I saw Honorable Francis, somewhere, I hope he's around, because he will help us in that aspect. For us to be able to penetrate the regional market, we must also keep to the quality standard. There's no way, there's no compromise, because they will not know me, they won't see me, but they will see my product. They will see, when they look at the integrity of the product, and it is exactly what I say it is in terms of the labeling and all I say about the product, then they will yield. This is what we need to do to be able to get into the market. Tony, I remember in my conversation with you some time ago, I told you about, I did a small study on the Kanu red goats. Red goats.
Correct. Yes.
Red goat is one of the best.
Yes. You
guys have a ranch,
that. Yes.
Ranch in Kanu. Why it is the best is because it's a free range. The fat and all those things are taken off. I have some samples of leather from goats. Yes. So these areas, maybe either the government or the private sector should invest more in that aspect. because that's where the leather, whether we like it or not, this leather, these shoes we wear from Italy and so they get this thing, we know. The tannery in Kano, a number of tanneries, most of you will see them in the NXP. When they put in the NXP, we see them, we know that their money, you know, there are a lot of transaction in that side. So it's important we deliberately develop this sector, because it's a huge, it's $1 billion sector. It's important we do what we ought to do for us to get that thing. Now, also been talking about the quality, in other, you know, we are trying to develop products. I mentioned partly in passing yesterday. Let's even think or say Nigeria, we don't have oil anymore. What if this oil dries up today? What can we do? How can we survive? So we come up with this zero oil. Let's even believe or begin to act as if we don't have oil. How can we survive, you know, post-oil era economy? 70% of whatever comes from oil, about export product comes is oil, as at 2015, the report of a central bank. Then, I mean, the World Bank. Then 90% of the GDP is from this. Okay, fine. We don't have oil. What can we do? So we now look at all the things, the leather, the manufacturing, the apparels that we have is something that if we you know, put these things in perspective, we don't even need this oil that much. If we can develop the leather sector, we develop the apparel, we develop the product sector, other products, agri-commodity product, and have them, you know, get in required certifications. They are halal for those in food, you know, that, you know, they have so many halal, BRC, organic, fair trade. It's important. We get those things. Once you have those quality certifications, and you just maybe on your website you included, oh, this has made this, people will look for it. Not to give them raw materials for their manufacturing. You know, so we need to do that. We developed the zero oil plan, and we look at this. Okay, each state has something that the state is blessed with. We're so wonderful. The country is wonderful. Now we look at in a state like Enugu that I'm sitting right now. They have cashew. All the belt from Obolafo, even to Kogi, is a cashew belt, and the cashew in this sector, in this belt, is so huge that I went to cashew farm recently in one of the rural villages, and I saw that, you know, this carpet crisscrossing. You can't see the sunlight, you can't see the sky because of the carpet. I mean, the cashew trees crisscrossing each other, and that is underutilized, underdeveloped. So 2 days ago, I was in Udenu where we tried to put in a structure for a processing for the women group. Now, I was telling the local government chairman and the people that, listen, we do not want to sell this thing raw to anybody. Don't come and tell me, oh, cashew, we sell to Olam will sell to, you can process this thing. What does it take? We put in the system, we imported the machine, the processing machine, and installed for the women group. Listen, I just had some guy that is based in Maryland. He says he can buy, he's around it. So, you know, by Monday, I went to about with him for another this. I want to take him and introduce to them, let them liaise with them, buy it there, process, you know, he does the processing, he has a warehouse. Let him buy from these people directly and pay them some level of premium